Sahana Bhavatu. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahano Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvisha Vahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Tacchayorabhrinimahe Gatun Yajnaya Gatun Yajnapataye Daive Swastirastuna Swastirmanusebhya Urdham Jigatu Bheshajam Shamno Yastu Dipade Sham Chatushpade. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. So, in our morning session, Swami Dibbanathanji spoke, narrated. So he narrated different episodes from the life of Sri Krishna and explained the significance of those episodes. So now, as I already announced, that Sri Krishna had different aspects of his life, and each of these aspects can be followed as an ideal of a spiritual aspirant. Yes,
午後の、対話において、シリ・クリシュナの人生のさまざまな側面についてお話ししたいんですけれども、それぞれの側面が、自分たちの、一つ一つの、人生の理想となっております。
Mitali, why don't you come forward? So in that way, or in this regard, we can divide the life of Krishna into some parts. For example, Vrindavana's Krishna, then Mathura's Krishna, then Dwaraka's Krishna, and then Mahabharata's Krishna. So if we divide in that way, so from that we can relate to what we said, different aspects of Sri Krishna's life, which we can follow as an ideal, as a devotee.
シルクリシュナの、人生を見ると、4つの危機と側面に分けて理解することができます。ブリンダバンでのシルクリシュナ、そしてマトゥーラ、ドワラカ、最後にマハーバーラタの戦争のシルクリシュナとなっています。それぞれ自分たちの人生の理想の一つと、なっていると思います。
For example, Vrindavanas and then Gokula's Krishna, if we just combine, then what are the main aspects of Sri Krishna's life as Vrindavana's Krishna? What are those? Vatsalya. Then?
Shall I translate for in Japanese?
Yes.
そして、ゴクラとブリンダバンを一つ、として考えると、その、時期のシルクリシュナの特徴とは何でしょうか？
The one answer is, you see, to love God as a child. And Yashoda did. Or some milkmaid ladies also, women also did.
一つの答えが、How do you translate milkmaid in Japanese?
That's a...
目牛の牛乳を取る女たち。
No, business. There's the business.
What do the milkmaids do, Maharaj?
The milkmaids prepare anything from milk and then they sell. That is
they make sweets and things like that?
Different butter, then cheese. So of course, so that's why from that. So basically they make this type of products and then also sell.
まあヤショダとか、まあ、ゴピたちが乳製品をたくさん作って売ってたその職業があったんですよね。酪農かなあ、そう酪農女性たちのようにシルクリシュナを愛した、人生の、まあ、側面ですね。
So sometimes they produce and then the husband sell, or sometimes they themselves sell. So different types are there, but they are called milkmaids.
Yes, that's a word. Rakuno.
Okay.
They deal with dairy products, Maharaj. That's what.
So this is one. So then, are there any other aspects? One is this Vatsalya. Then. হ্যাঁ এই তুমি ওরা ওদিকে অত দূরে কেন বসলে? হাওয়া পাওয়া যাবে বলে? হাওয়া তো এদিকে বসলেও পাওয়া যাবে কাছে। আচ্ছা বেশ, তারপর what else? One is, that's a Vatsalya. That means to look upon God as one's own child. What we were just discussing little before. In that kitchen, in the dining room, we are just discussing the same thing. So it's not only in the case of Sri Krishna, with regard to one's own child, one can have the same attitude. Looking upon one's own child as Krishna.
Gopal.
Yes, in one that's the ideal. Then, as Gopal Verma did, So I looked up. Then what else? Friend. So the Lord as a friend. Sakhya. In Sanskrit it's called Sakhya. So to look upon God, that means looking upon Sri Krishna as their friend. That means Sridham, Shubal, so many others are there who looked upon Sri Krishna as their friends. And friends means how dearly they loved. They used to eat a fruit to check whether it is sour or sweet. So if they say one piece of fruit they just taste, and if that fruit is sweet, then they will, which is already maybe already a part of it are already eaten by them. So they will give that fruit to Krishna without hesitating that Krishna is the Lord. So without any hesitation, they want to serve as best as possible. They want to serve the best thing to Krishna. So that's their motive. Not the usual our way of thinking. So it has been already eaten and polluted by some others. So don't give it to me. Krishna also doesn't refuse, and they also don't hesitate to give that fruit, already eaten by them. So that type of love is there, not that type of superstition or like that, not by some guided by some sort of ritualism or some customs like that. Of course, clean or unclean is a different thing.
でも一つは、最初は、クリシュナを子供のように、自分の子供のように愛する。もう一つはクリシュナを自分の、あるいは神様を自分の友達として愛する。で、シリクリシュナは牧師たちと一緒に住んでた時に、彼らが例えばスリダムとかシュバル、などの牧師たちが、果物が、甘いか酸っぱいかどうかを確認するために一切れを食べてから、スリクリシュナに捧げました。で、普段よりもう食べているものが神様に絶対にお供えしてはいけないけど、彼らがその考え方にとらわれずに、いつも神様に一番いいものを捧げたいからそのようにしていました。私たちと同じようにいつも迷信とかいろんな儀式の堅苦しい考え方にとらわれずにして、遠慮せず神様を食べさせました。
Then what are the another aspects? So we have already heard the Vatsalya and Sakhya, to look upon God as one's own dearest friend. Arjuna is also one of the examples. Arjuna is also the Lord's dearest friend. So Sri Krishna himself recognized, you are my Sakha, you are my dearest friend. Then what else?
アルジュナも友人としてシリクリシュナを拝めていました。
Okay, so why do you take so much time? Then also the Madhura Bhava.
Madhura Bhava.
So that means to look upon God as one's sweetheart.
マドゥーラバーバは神様は自分の愛人のように見る、扱う。
So the Gopitachis, for example, they had that type of young, because among the milkmaids there are different ages. They belong to not the elderly women, not the aged women, or not very child. So the young milkmaids, they had that attitude of this sweetheart to Sri Krishna. So that is in Sanskrit or in Bengali called Madhura Bhavas. So look upon God as one's sweethearts, dearest one.
How old was Sri Krishna at that time, Maharaj?
Sri Krishna at that time?
What?
How old? He was maybe 14 years old, 13 or 14 years old.
Oh, just a boy, Maharaj.
Yeah. Yes, because now you are thinking of the longevity of nowadays, but maybe that time it was not that, or maybe more. Anyway, the important thing is this:
はい。
they are all young.
もう一つはマドゥーラババ神様を愛人のように、見て関わりを持つことですね。でその時の、ゴピたち、酪農の仕事をしてた彼女たちが、子供ではなかったし、年取った女性たちでもなかった。同じような、ティーネイジャー。
Teenagers. So they are also like that from 15 to 20, 25, about that range, around that range.
若い人たちでした。はい。
And mostly rather they are said, they are, some of them are housewives already, so they are 14, 15 years old. They are also not in that sense very matured, young women. They are also quite young.
そう夫人もうすでに結婚しているとされていたんですけれども、結構若い方でした。
So this is Gokula and Vrindavana's Krishna's main aspects. Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhura. And what's about that Mathura's Krishna? Mathura's Krishna is the punisher of the evil-minded persons, wicked persons. He is the punisher of that.
まとめると、ブリンダバンとゴクラの、スリクリスナは、神様を自分の子供、あるいは友達、それとも愛人のように愛することですね。次にマトゥラのスリクリスナは、悪人を、罰する、スリクリスナの姿が現れます。
Then also student life. He studied that time scriptures when he was in Mathura. So, student life also. And a very good student, very obedient student, and very devoted to the teacher, and wanted to fulfill the desire of the teacher, who requested something so-called impossible thing, that they had lost their child. So, they prayed to Sri Krishna, said that that child should be brought back to life, because they are very sad for that, because they had lost the child. And Sri Krishna did that. So brought back that child to life, and then gave him to the Guru, Sandipani.
Like Jesus.
But it had some years before, just not that time.
そして、マトゥラでも、スリクリスナが学生生活を送りました。グルサンディパンの、グルクールで過ごしました。でスリクリスナは、グルに対してとても、尊敬を持って非常に従順でした。そして、グルの無理と言ってもいい、願いも叶えてあげました。グルと奥さんが、自分たちの愛する子供を失いました。亡くなりました。でその子供を、よみがえらせて、自分たちの元に戻って欲しかったんです。で、シルキシさんはその願いを満足しました。
Then Mathura's, Dwaraka's Krishna, what is the special feature? He was a king and householder, ideal king and ideal householder. So that was the characteristic of Krishna of Dwaraka, which is situated in the West India, western part of India, Dwaraka.
そしてドアラカのスリクリシナは理想的な王様と在家者の姿を見せました。ドアラカは西インドにあります。
Then Mahabharata's Krishna. Then Mahabharata's Krishna there we see Sri Krishna also, especially on the eve of the great Kurukshetra war, during the Kurukshetra war and also after the Kurukshetra war. Then what is the main trait of Sri Krishna at that time?
そしてマハワラタの、スリクリシュナの、目立った特徴とは何でしょうか。
例えば戦争の前、
戦争
の時、戦争の後、その戦のシリクリシュナの特徴は何でした？Dharma Sthapan. Teach. Then Anirvama said charioteer. He said he was the charioteer, and then he just gave an example. Charioteer of not just symbolically a charioteer of one's own life. That's a nice interpretation. But if I use a particular word, let me ask you whether if you like that word or not. Ashish, are you not using your laptop? Why?
Later on I will transcribe. I will transcribe later.
You will?
Transcribe. I will transcribe the public.
Achha, okay. So if I use this word counseling, counselor, do you like this word? Sri Krishna as a counselor. Does it convey the sense to you? And was he not like that? Was he not all the time counseling? Apparently a charioteer, but all the time he was just counseling. What should be done, what should not be done. So Sri Krishna as the counselor. Not in a narrow sense, in a very comprehensive, in a very deep, and in a very wide sense. He was the counselor. So do you accept it? Or do you feel comfortable with this word? Counselor? So now we see, so various roles. So we can look upon Krishna as child, God as child, then God as a friend, God as sweetheart, God as an ideal householder, God as a kingmaker or king, God as a punisher of evils, and God as a counselor. Now, my question is this: among all these roles, which we need most? Which role? Which Krishna we need now most?
Let me translate. そして、戦前と戦後の、スリクリシュナの一番目立った特徴は、先ほどアニュラ・マハラジが話したときに、スリクリシュナは私たちの人生の業者。
Charioteer. Is it okay? So did I listen to your talk?
それもいい例えですけれども。
Good. But don't move like me here and there, because I had to organize other things.
ですけれども、マハラジメダサナンダマハラジが、シリクリシュナは、カウンセラー、相談員の役割を果たしたと言います。いろんな人が相談に、乗って、解決策とかいろんな提案をされました。では、今まで、神様を子供のように、自分の子供のように愛するか、友達、そして、理想的な財形者王様、あるいはカウンセラー、という姿がありますが、今私たちが生きている、時代、においてシリクリシュナの一番、ぴったりな一番必要な姿とは何でしょうか。
Okay, now raise your hand. Say, which you like most now? In which role?
今は一番好きな側面は何でしょうか。
Friend and Ashish, don't close your eyes. Open your eyes so that I can see. I can check whether meditating or just attentively you are listening or you are dozing. Yeah. So what do you think?
For me, I don't know. For myself, the counselor is a bit detached. They just give counsel and okay, you can't give anything. I just give my advice. But more like Hamur said, good teacher will climb onto your chest and beat you and make you follow.
Okay, so that is also in one way counseling and teaching, not much difference. So I use the modern, parlance I should say, modern word, but basically traditionally it should be called teaching, teacher, teaching all the time, isn't it? So fundamentally there is not difference. What's about Borun?
I think friends, Maharaj.
Friend.
Yeah.
Acha.
Counsel.
Animal Maharaj?
Can you repeat your question once again?
Among the different aspects, you see, of Sri Krishna, which aspect you, counseling. Okasan? So, 大体一緒そのイメージしてください。
一番好きな。
ミタリ
Friend
Friend
and counselor.
and counselor. のりちゃん Counselor. Okay. Now, so that you don't misunderstand, let me explain what's the difference between counselor, ordinary counselor and Sri Krishna as a counselor, so that you can have clearly understand what's the speciality, uniqueness of Sri Krishna as a counselor.
で、誤解がないように、普通のカウンサラーと、セクリスナーとしてのカウンサラー相談員の、役割についてもう少し詳しく説明します。
Because the counselor, what we generally see, I wonder, they need more counseling than those whom they would like to offer counseling.
普通のカウンサラーは、自分たちが相談に乗ってくれる人よりも、カウンセリングが必要。わかりますか？カウンセリングを、授ける人の方がカウンセリングが必要。
As they say, physicians, see, you treat thyself. See, the doctor, you heal thyself. There's a word. Doctor, you heal thyself. The doctor who treats, he himself has so many problems, diabetes, blood pressure. So then the patient does not fortunately know all these problems of the physician. Otherwise, they would not come to that physician because he has already so many problems, physical problems. So how he will treat others? You see, even one person who has diabetes, sugar level maybe 300 or 400. So one diabetes patient came to him. So if he knows that my doctor has already sugar level is 300, so he will not show up again. Isn't it? So the sage said, doctor, heal thyself. You first heal yourself, then you treat others. So most of the counselors are like that. They themselves have lots of problems. They themselves need counseling. But they have to earn money and they have got some degree. So then they counsel. You see? Okay.
もう一つの例えがあるんですけれども、医者さんが、医療に関するいろんなアドバイスをするんですけれども、医者自身もいろんな病気かかったり、例えば、高血圧とか糖尿病だったりすると、同じ病気をかかっている人が来ると、その先生の指示に従わないですね。自分も統治の 糖分がとても高くて、あなたは、糖分を控えなさいと言っても自分もたくさん取ってるので、もう効果ですね。もうそれをしたらもう二度と来ないんです。英語でことわざがあるんですね。医者よ、自分をまず治療しなさい。その後他の人の治療をしてください。
But Krishna was not that type of counselor.
そう、シュリークリシュナはそのようなカウンセラーではない。でも今のカウンセラー、たちが、ほとんど、結構相当なカウンセリングも必要です。でもお金稼がないといけないので、
ちょっと、
はい、準備ができてないままにカウンセリングをしている感じです。
で心でよく知ってます。I have myself so many problems. Maybe I need counseling. Now I am reminded, in this case, one interesting story. So the story is, you see, one person suffered from some mental problem. So he was always, looked always sad. So then he had gone to a psychiatrist to consult. How can this sadness will go away? Then that person, psychologist, gave some advice and then said, you see, there is a person I know who is always full of fun, and he always makes jokes and make others laugh also. The many persons, those who have some problem, some sort of psychological problem, they go to him, so that if they go to him, that person will make him laugh and his sadness will go. So can you go to that person?
でこれに関して一つの物語があります。ある人が精神的に苦しんでいて、もう落ち込んでいましたので、精神科医のところに相談に行きました。で先生に話したら、その先生が話をよく聞いてで答えました。私は、こういう人が知ってます。この人が他の人が悲しんでくると、笑い話をしてみんな大喜びしてその悲しみがなくなります。彼はいつも元気でいつも笑ってる。なのでその人のところに行けばどうですか？
Then this person said, Sir, your advice is very good, but unfortunately I am that person who used to make others laugh. But now I myself have the same problem of sadness.
でその患者さんが言いました。先生はあなたが、お提案していただいたことはごもっともですけれども、私自身はその人ですよ。私は今落ち込んでいます。
So the same thing about this the so-called counselors, you know. Now Sri Krishna, as I said, he is our eternal counselor, and his counseling is not restricted to only one part of the life. It is very exhaustive, covers all the parts, and in fact, what the counselors do, that's another irony. See, the fun is this. Now every school, every college, they have some system of counseling. But my question is this: why you first allow them to grow, to have some mental sickness? Why do you allow the children to develop some mental sickness? Is there no way so that they don't have such mental sickness? So after there is mental sickness, then you treat. So is it not better to prevent? Prevention is better than cure. Now Sri Krishna as a counselor, he also counsels in such a way so that we have not that problem at all. So if you study Bhagavad Gita, so his advices, if you go through, then you see, He gives so many advices so that we do not fall in the trouble. Then also who have fallen in trouble, also Sri Krishna has counseling for them. And coverage, what's the coverage? Personal life, day-to-day life, human relationship, food, entertainment, moral life, spiritual life. So his counseling covers every aspect of human life. And so many problems one can imagine, he has some solutions for that. So in that way, is he not a very special type of counselor, Sri Krishna? Hmm.
そして、普通のカウンセラー、の、指示が非常に限られているんですね。で、今は、多くの大学短大においてそのカウンセラーを育てる、プログラムとか専攻がありますね。でも、マハラジの質問はどうしてあとその大学の中にも相談室がありますね。無料で使えるやつ。でもどうして学生さんが精神的に病気になることを許してるんですか？もう病気になってから治療するのはもう手遅れです。それは、二次予防というんですけれども、病気が発生した後治療する。でも予防する方がいいのではないですか？
どうですか？それはいいじゃないですか？Prevention is better than cure. So same thing about counseling. So in school, college, office, so many counselors and all that. But there is no how they developed such sickness, mental sickness. これを考えないです。どうしてそれが子供たちのそのぐらいストレスがどうして出てます？それの教え何もない。ね、問題が出た後、うつ病になって、その時から治療を始めます。そして我々考えのそれが大きな間違いではないですが、どうしてこれ社会の人、社会のリーダー、どうして政府、ガバメント、どうしてそれを考えてないんですか？ね、Sorry, I am speaking in Japanese.
No, please
so,
go ahead, man.
They spend a lot of money. See, you cannot imagine how much they spend the money for this counseling and all these things. And what a great source of the people who are treating the mental patients, how much they are earning. And finally, what's the result? Dependence on drug. They cannot think by themselves. They become just an inert person, dull person. See, Leo knows very well about because that is his subject. So the person will just he will be a mass of matter only. So there will be no mind, there will be no brain, there will be no soul. Just a matter, mass of matter. So that's why I'm telling. We need that type of counseling or that type of teaching so that we do not, fall into that type of situation. We do not be in that type of situation. So if we have that type of teachings, that is most welcome. So Sri Krishna is that type of teacher who teaches us so that we do not fall in troubles at all. And even though we fall in trouble, then also Sri Krishna has advices for us.
で今、政府が、たくさんのお金をそのカウンセリングのために、費やしてるんですけれども、その結果は、あまり良くないですね。その人が、薬などに依存してしまって自分の考える能力もなく、 もう生きている屍のような存在です。非常に残念です。なので私たちが、シュリークリシュナのようなカウンセラーが必要です。つまりシュリクリシュナは私たちが困る前にいろんなアドバイスをしていただいています。そして困った時にもいろんなアドバイスをしていただきます。例えば毎日の生活のトラブルとか、人間関係、食事、遊び、そして霊的な生活、つまり人生全体あらゆる側面を、網羅して、すべて考えうる問題の解決策も提案してくれます。
You see, Swami Vivekananda is very clear about this. What type of Krishna we need? What sort of Krishna we need today? He would say, for many hundreds of years, we just followed Sri Krishna of Vrindavan. We accepted Krishna as the Vrindavan Krishna as our ideal. All this Madhura Bhava and all these Bhavas, he said, throw away all these things. Now we need the Krishna of Mahabharata. We need that Krishna of Gita. So the other day I was reading, do you think that Krishna was always playing flutes and dancing with the milkmaid girls? Is it your idea of Krishna? That all the time he is, you see, blowing the flute? Blowing the flute or playing the flute? What? Playing the flute and dancing with the milkmaids. Is it your image of Sri Krishna? Throw away that idea of Krishna. Throw away that image of Krishna. So, Swamiji again and again said, our ideal should be now Krishna of Mahabharata, Krishna of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, see the results, see the consequences, what happened. For centuries, they worshipped Krishna as Vrindavana's Krishna, and like that, Gokula's Krishna. And what the result? India became a subject country. India was ruled, exploited by other foreign countries because we never followed the teaching of Gita. Arjuna did not want to fight because he had to kill his teachers, his relatives. And what he wanted to say, instead of what he wanted to say, Bhaksham api haloge, Sreyo Bhaksham api haloge. I rather prefer to beg, you see, food from others than to kill my relatives and friends and teachers. Then Sri Krishna ridiculed him. Arjuna, what are you saying? You belong to the caste of Kshatriya, whose duty is to protect the good people from the evil people. So that is your religion. And you promised, you see, you took a vow that you take the retaliation because they humiliated Draupadi, and you take the revenge of it. You are just forgetting, and you want to be a monk, you want to be a sannyasi and beg your food. Shame on you. Shame on you. You fight. That's your duty. Klebyam masma gamah partha naita taiva padyate shudram hridaya daurbalyam. It's just it's a mental, this emotion is a very negative emotion. You throw it. Get up and fight. That advice we did not listen. We just worshipped Krishna, worshipped Bhagavad Gita, and put it nicely decorated with sandalwood paste and did pranam, but never followed the teachings of Krishna. On the other hand, the Western people, you see, they did not Bhagavad Gita, they did not study Bhagavad Gita. Rather, they practiced Bhagavad Gita. That's why they conquered us. So, though Bhagavad Gita is an Indian philosophy, book of philosophy book, though Sri Krishna actually preached the sermon of Bhagavad Gita in India, but we did not follow and we suffered. That's why Swamiji said, now let us follow the teachings of Sri Krishna of Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita. That's was his advice.
そしてスワミジよく、言いました。私たちが今必要なのは、笛を吹いてゴピたちと踊っているクリシュナの姿ではない。それをもうよくに置いといて、今、マハバラタ、ギターを解いた、力強いスリクリシュナの姿が必要です。あなたたちは何を考えているんですか？スリクリシュナは、この笛を吹いて踊りばっかりしたんですか？それは一生やり続けたんですか？それではないです。で、インドではずっとそのブリンダバンのスリクリシュナの側面を、中心にしてたので、植民地下に来てた今イギリス人とか他の国々の人たちに対して対抗しなかった。その結果植民地下に、置かれました。でアルジュナも、もう私は戦いたくない、自分の教師や親戚を殺したくないと発言して、もう私は骨敷して、もうサニヤシになった方がいいのではないか。でもそれに対して、シリクリシュナが彼をからかって軽蔑して言いました。お前はクシャトリヤ、侍のカストだよ。あなたの義務は、いい人を悪い人から守るべきです。しかもあなたも、誓言を立てましたでしょう。ドラウパディが、宮殿の中にそんなひどい侮辱を受けた後、あなたは必ず復讐すると言ってたんじゃないですか。なので、有名なギターの、説、お前のどこからこの弱気が出てきました。それを捨てて戦いなさい。お前に、らしくない。お前にふさわしくないです。一方、スワミジも西洋人がギターとか読んでいないんですけれども、イエス様の教えに従わないでシリクリシュナの教えに従ったと言っています。そのためとても強力な、軍隊とか強い国になって他の国々を支配することになりました。
Now I will ask you again. You have also read Bhagavad Gita. So, what according to you is the most impressive teaching of Bhagavad Gita? One hour, 3:45 to 4:45, 2:45 to 3:45. 1 hour. Acha, okay. Then, so, Mitali, Bhagavad Gita, what is the most, according to you, what's the most important teaching of Bhagavad Gita? Or what teaching you like? Just don't take much time, just detachment. Good. Okasan, Naniga, did you translate it?
Yes.
Okay. Naniga Bhagavad Gita no.
But this one?
So say that.
そしてマハラジャ皆さんに、バガワギターの中で一番好きな教えは何ですか？
うん。義務、自分の義務をしてください。 Okay, do your duty. So, we'll ask you, just wait. Don't just say same. No. So you will get your chance. So then do your duty. Ashish? So, okay, じゃあ皆さん考えてください。のりちゃん、でバガバッドギターの一番大事な印象的は何ですか？教え。Okay, you have got enough time.
Two things. One is what you said, Klabya Masma Gama Parka, like be strong, don't be weak. Then do your duty, then balance. So everything has to be done in balance.
Balance.
Yes, Maharaj.
Balance in what sense?
So like yogi should not eat too much or eat too less.
Lifestyle.
Yes,
So about lifestyle.
yes.
Okay.
And detachment, Maharaj.
Detachment.
And internal joy.
Internal joy.
Atmaneva,
Atmanivas. Fine. See, you know so many things. Only the thing is...
So only know, Maharaj. So no practice.
Okay, at least many people that also don't know that also. Acha, Noriko-san, Gita no nani ga insho teki oshiye? Dete, acha. Okay. De Kasuga-san, nani? Huh?これが一つ二つだけ？でそれの中にあなたは一番何が？だって一番ではない。例えば一つ二つも構いません。ちょっと考えた方がいい？何がバガバッドギター全体的にいっぱいいっぱい教えありますけれども、例えばあなたのためにどちらがもっと私とても好きです。そのように考えことありますか？What? So I can't follow.
It says usually there's like conflicts, then there's a proposal for solution, and then there's resolution. But in the Bhagavad Gita, everyone is like an extraordinary person, so everything gets resolved well. So I cannot tell anything.
No, it's not like that. Not the origin no more. 混乱もありました。質問もありました。それありましたでしょ？あ、じゃあ OK、大丈夫です。で、あなた、So how do you...
I think there are two teachings. One is duty comes above emotions.
Duty?
Comes above emotions.
Duty comes.
Before emotions. Like duty is more important than your emotions.
Emotion. अच्छा, okay, then?
And your life is a temporary journey. There are things beyond your life.
There's something eternal, which is not... Life is temporary, but there is something... And there is also...
Long journey outside of the life.
Hmm?
There is a longer journey outside of this mortal life.
Mortal life. Okay. Varun? হ্যাঁ তুমি তো নরেন্দ্রপুরে তো কিছু কিছু ভগবদ্গীতাটা পড়ো বুঝলে? ইট ইজ ভেরি হেল্পফুল. গর্গ তুই যা পড়েছিস তাই তার মধ্যে থেকে বল. Oh, okay. So he says whatever the best, all the best things, in all best things, there is the presence of Sri Krishna. These are all the manifestations of Krishna. So this cosmic form of Krishna, so that is quite impressive. Yumi-san?
たくさんのあまたの川が海に入っても海は変わらない心の平安の話。
例えば、okay. So, okay, now should I translate? So she says that as so many waters of river, you see, they run into the ocean
But the ocean
or
doesn't.
fall in the ocean, but the level of water of the ocean remains the same. So that means so many desires one may enter into the heart of people, but still if they maintain the sameness of mind, then that's an ideal state, about which Sri Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham. So there's very beautiful verse. Samudramapa pravishanti yatavat tadavat kamayang pravishanti sarve sasanti apnoti nakamukami. So as so large quantity of water is fall into the ocean or enter the ocean, but the level of ocean remains the same. The level of water does not increase. No? So that's why that person actually gets peace, mental peace, in whom so many desires enter but cannot disturb him. So why in our case what happens? Some desire is there and we want to satisfy that desire. Then our mind is disturbed, because for that we have to work. Otherwise, how can we fulfill our desire? So that's why our mind cannot remain calm and quiet. So she says that's an ideal state of which Sri Krishna said which is quite impressive to her. Okay. Now, last but not the least. Huh? Oh, sorry, you just same. You tell by yourself. According to her, whatever bhal lage, what's about practicing? Now, okay. So she says, whatever work you do, offer all the results of that work to me. That is very impressive to her, though. Okay. Now,
What about you, Maharaj?
me. Okay, now your turn is there.
Yes, I'm ready, Maharaj.
Okay.
From a few years ago, Maharaj, maybe 1 year. That Tlayam Masmagama Parita Naitataya Upapatyate Kshutram Hridaya Darbalyam Tektotista Parantapa.
Okay, now read the Japanese translation. Yes, I repeatedly told him.
So
Like,
Maharaj,
say,
nakaimo.
repeat it like mantra. Now, Japanese translation.
プリタヒの息子よ、そんな態度は男らしくもないし、全く君にはふさわしくない。さあ、弱気を捨てて立ち上がりなさい。敵を撃破する勇者よ。
So same thing Swamiji said, arise and awake. 立ち上がれ目覚め、同じことではないですか。Arise and awake and stop not till the goal is reached. Same thing. Same thing. Now, if I am asked what is most impressive to me, then I said the whole of Gita, there is not a single thing which I don't like of Bhagavad Gita. Every verse I like. So, I have no choice.
That's an easy answer, Maharaj.
No. It's after many, many years of study. Since when I was 15 years old, I have started reading Bhagavad Gita. Not by myself, my father asked me to read. So after all these years, every day, not a single day exception, so far I remember, every day since when I was 15 years old, 15 or maybe around that. So my conclusion is this: not a single verse of Bhagavad Gita is there which I say that I don't like it, which is not impressive. So that is my answer. これは私の答えです。OK。
マハラジは15歳から毎日バガバギターを読んでいますので、嫌いな説は一つもありません。すべては大好きで、すべては重要だと思っています。
But anyway, now if I have to say that what are the most important things of Bhagavad Gita, then I'll say a few words and then I shall close.
じゃあ言おうとしたら、ギータの一番重要な、メッセージとは何かは次に話します。
The one thing is this: do your duty. And don't escape from your duty. Whatever duty you have, you must do. No running away. No escaping.
一つ目は自分の義務を果たしなさい。逃げないで。それを避けないで。それを全うしなさい。
But there are two conditions.
しかし2つの条件があります。
One condition is this: while you do your duty, always remember me. Think of me. Mam anusmara yuddhacha. Bhagavad Gita is a great message. Fight. Fight means, you see, in case of Arjuna is fighting, we are not going to fight. We are not going to go in Europe and fight either for Russia or for, say, which country?
Ukraine.
Ukraine. So here it means doing the duty. Everyone's the field of work, duty is, workplace is like a Kurukshetra. It may be Panasonic, or it may be hospital, or it may be some company, or it may be just a family of, you see, housewife. It's like in one way or other, it is like a Kurukshetra. It's like a Kurukshetra. So in that way, every one of us is a soldier. Every one of us is a fighter. So Shri Krishna, Arjuna is just a symbol of us. So whatever duty you have, do that. But remember, mentally always remember me. 思いながら、私はいつも思いながら自分の仕事をしてください。大丈夫。すみません。there is one. Then, okay, second condition, okay. Second condition is, do the work as my instrument.
2つ目は、その仕事をするときに私の道具として行いなさい。
So don't say, don't think, I am doing. Yes, I am doing outwardly, but actually I am doing as the instrument of God. And whatever power, intelligence, skill I have, all have come from God. The source is God. So remember it. If the pen thinks, pencil, that I am writing, what nonsense. Pen or pencil cannot write itself. Can it write itself? So it is used as an instrument to write. The writer is a person. So our position is like that sort of pen, fountain pen or pencil. So do the work as the instrument of me. This is another condition.
私たちがいただいている力、知識、知性、能力、才能、すべては神様からいただいたものです。例えばペンとか鉛筆自身が私は書いてると思い込むのは、愚かな考え方ですね。私たちも、神様のペンのような存在です。神様は私たちを使って自分の仕事をなさっています。常にそれを思い出しなさい。
Then the fourth thing is, third thing is this: don't get attached to anything or any person.
3つ目は、どんな人に対してもどんなことに対しても執着を持たないでください。
Love, but don't get attached.
執着せずに愛しなさい。
Because attachment leads you to bondage and suffering. But love leads you to freedom and joy.
執着は私たちを束縛と悲しみ、苦しみをもたらしますが、愛は私たちを、自由と幸せに導きます。
Now, how to do it? So, very simple answer, because many are confused how to practice it, to love without attachment. Because everyone is afraid, householders, if I have no attachment, then I have no love also. If I don't feel attached to my son or my daughter or my husband or wife, then maybe I shall lose the love for them. Absolutely wrong. It is possible to love without attachment. The example is Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna loved the young disciple so much that Premanandaji once remarked to his mother, "Mother, how much do you love me?" Sri Ramakrishna's love is much, much, much more than your love for me. Then mother said, "What do you say? I am your mother. Don't I love you?" Premanandaji said, "No. You love me surely, but if you compare, then Sri Ramakrishna's love for is incomparable. But there is not a slightest trace of attachment in that." So this is an example.
そして、在家者、の方々がもし執着しないと自分たちの息子、娘、旦那さん、奥さんに対する、愛もなくなりますという恐れがあります。
大きな心配です。
でもそれは、できます。執着しないまま愛することもできます。例えば、スリラマクリスナはそうでした。ある時、スワミ、プレマナンダジ出家する前に、自分のお母さんに、言いました。お母さん、あなたは私を愛してますか？そしてスリラマクリスナは私への愛はあなたより優れてますよ。で、お母さんが言いました。なんということ？私はもちろんあなたを愛してます。でも、プレマナンダジが言いました。でも、スリラマクリスナの愛に比べるともう比較にならない。スリラマクリスナの愛が無限で、そして、執着も一切ありません。利己的な目的は一切ありません。
So I said, how to do it? Just two things you have to practice. One thing is this: connect all your love with the love of God. That means, you see, love everyone through God. That means, through God, you understand this point? That means, you try to see the person whom you love, try to see God in him. And not only, you see, in that sense, not only whom you love, you try to see God in only him or in her, but all people. So all love, all relationship should be connected with the love of God. That's one way.
で一つの方法は、すべての人を神様を通して愛しなさい。つまりその人、を見ないでその人の中にいる、あるいは、神様、あるいは神様がその人として現れていることを意識しながら愛しなさい。
Then another thing is this. Remember, all human relationship is just, you see, conditioned by this life only. But the relationship with God is eternal. So you are talking of the eternal and temporary. So all our relationship with everything, every person, is restricted to this life only. But our relationship with God is eternal. So if we remember that, then also you can practice the same, what it said, love without attachment.
もう一つは、私たちの、根性のすべての関係は一時的であり、神様との関係だけが永遠です。これを思い出したら、人に執着せず愛することができます。
Then the fourth point, so I said before three points, no? Three?
Yes, yes.
Then the last point is this. You see, all these advices, all these things will be made possible to practice, provided we try to control three things. That is, in other word, purification of our heart. What is the most three important things that you should try to control? First one is kama, desire, and more specifically lust. Nikuyoku. So this is number one. Number two is krodha, anger. And then lobha, greed. So these three one has to control. Kama, krodha, and lobha, greed. So kama esha tribidhar narakasedam dvara nasanam atmanah. Kama esha, krodha esha, lobha, kama, krodha, lobha, tasmat etatrayang tajit. Kam, krodha, and lobha. So these three things, there are so many things, but mostly if we try to see, as I say, control, mainly these three, lust, greed, and anger, then it will be easier for us to practice other things, other advices which have been already given.
でこれ、先ほどの3つのことを実践するための、土台基本となる、実践は、心を純粋することです。具体的に言うと1つ目がカーマ、特に、カーマは欲望ですけれども、特に肉欲をコントロールすることですね。2つ目は、怒りをコントロールする。3つ目はローバ、貪欲をコントロールする。バガバギターの一節があるんですけれども、地獄の門、地獄に導く 3つの門があるんですけれども、これは肉欲、怒りと貪欲です。
Now, what for all this? Why should we practice all these things, what he said? Because we want a state, a condition of eternal peace and eternal joy and highest wisdom. So, this is the purpose of human life, according to Bhagavad Gita. And for that, we need to practice those 4 things. Because without, why should we practice? What is the purpose, what is the motivation to practice all this? This is the motivation. Because everyone wants joy, everyone wants peace, everyone wants Shivase, Odayaka no Jotai. Everyone wants. There is no exception. But they are searching in a wrong way, in a wrong place. 2 things. Wrong way is wrong, place is also wrong. So they don't get the thing. So Bhagavad Gita tells us what is the right way and what is the right place. So that is the motivation. So with that motivation, let us try to practice all these 4 things.
You said eternal peace, highest joy, and
Eternal peace, highest joy, and highest wisdom.
wisdom.
Eternal peace and bliss and highest wisdom.
私たちの、目指すべきこと、自分たちの、目標は永遠の平和、平安、そして、至福、そして最高の知恵を得ることです。私たちが、どうして実践しなければならないと考えると、その永遠の平和、至福と知恵を探すんですね。自分たちの本性ですから。しかし間違った方法で間違った場所で探してしまうので見つかりません。これを思い出せば、じゃあ正しい方法で正しい場所で探すと見つかります。それは私たちの、動機付け、モチベーションとなります。
In other words, what is called realization of the self or realization of God, just the same thing. These are not different things.
言い換えれば、自己実現、神様を悟ることと同じになります。
OK、お母さん何をメモしました？繰り返し。それで終わり。
私たちの目指すべきこと。
一番最初の実践何？
肉欲のコントロール。
それの前。Number 1。First one, do the duty そうではないですか。自分の義務。のりさん、それメモありませんか？のりちゃん。あります。自分の義務。
自分の義務を果たしなさい。活動しなさい。私を思いながら仕事をしてください。
それから
2、仕事をするときに私の道具として行いなさい。私たちがいただいている知性や知識はすべて神様からいただいたものです。それを思い出しなさい。3、どんな人に対してもどんなことに対しても執着するのをやめなさい。執着せずに愛しなさい。執着は束縛と悲しみをもたらしますが、愛は自由と知識をもたらします。4、これらを実践するためには心をコントロールする。
それの前はすべての関係は神様の関係で作ってくる。神様を通して愛しなさい。そうそう。もう一つは
根性は最後。
根
性は一時的な関係で、神様との関係は永遠。
そうです。それもあります。一緒にありますでしょ。で最後、
これらを実践するためには心をコントロールする。
それしますと心のコントロールができます。ね。で、最後のポイントは、やる気や。
私たちの目標は永遠の平和、最高の永遠の平和と至福、最高の知恵を探すことです。それは神様を悟ることです。
それのためには前の実践が必要です。完璧。パーフェクト。お母さん、もう娘は完璧でメモしましたよ。OK。それで、so here we finish.
Pori-chan also made notes, man.
Okay. Now, remember Maharaj, where are those our technical people?
Shanti,
Asisha,
Asisa,
みんな、誰でも見えない？
maybe they're taking nap, Maharaj. They're resting.
We have no rest.
I have heard or I have read, I don't remember. Mahabharata is our own body. It's like we have 5 senses like Pandava and 100 of what do you call bad habits or bad things, that's Kaurava. And Krishna is the mind who is controlling.
No, you can, symbolically you can interpret in many ways. So, in fact, many over the years, centuries, so many interpretations, there are so many there. So, in one way, nothing is wrong, but whether it helps you to practice or not, that's the important thing. Important thing is practice. Otherwise, intellectual, if you just think, then so many things are there where you love to read but finally, does it help you? Unless you practice. That's the important. アシュシャンティやりますか？
今日はやりません。
Okay. So then জয় দিয়ে দেবে, হ্যাঁ? জয় দিয়ে দেবে গানের পর।
এখন জয় দিয়ে দেবো?
গানের পর জয় দিয়ে দেবে।
আচ্ছা।
এখনই জয় দেবে।
না দিতে পারি, অসুবিধা নেই।
শান্তি গানের কথা ছিল তো, করবে না।
একটা হিন্দি ভজন করছিল, শ্রীকৃষ্ণ শরণম মামা, নামাবলী।
কর।
শ্রীকৃষ্ণ শরণম মামা।
Like Ramakrishna Sharanam?
No.
See, Maharaj, she took extensive notes.
Busy. She is busy in her own way.
She'll be the next translator.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama 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 Achyut Keshava Madhava Shri Krishna Madhusudana Keshava Madhava Shri Krishna Madhusudana Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. 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 जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय। जय महामाई की जय। जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय। जय गंगा माई की जय। जय श्री बुद्धदेव की जय। जय श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल जी की जय।
Okay, thank you, Honorable Maharaj. Thank you, Minasan. Leo, thank you. So our next discourse will be in September, third Sunday. You are all welcome.
皆様ありがとうございました。次の、例会は、
9月。
9月の第3の、日曜日になります。皆様よろしければご参加ください。
Okay, ありがとうございます。そして皆さん、T。ね。名前違う。
What's the last mantra you chanted, Maharaj? Brindavan.
Bihari Lal ji ki jai.
Bihari.
Lal.
What does it mean?
Lal means sometimes it's very favorite. Lala, Lal.
Bihari Lal.
Ki jai. Ji ki jai.
Jai.
Lala, Lal. Lala generally is a small child. Lala. Very Lala. Sundara